government has warned potential armed robbers, bag snatchers, touts, cultists, kidnappers, and others planning to operate anywhere in the state to desist from such plans. The government said it is determined to ensure a fun-filled Christmas and New Year celebrations from the Anambra returning this season and those resident in the state. This warning is contained in a press release signed by the Commissioner for Information, Sir Paul Nwosu. The release states that anyone who plies any of these illegal trades is advised to respectfully and quickly leave Anambra State, otherwise the person will celebrate Yuletide in handcuffs and shackles. It also stated that Anambra State Police and vigilante groups are on red alert to deal with any merchant of crime this festive season, and those with such criminal tendencies have no hiding place in Anambra State under Governor Chukwuma Soludo. The Women's Committee of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Anambra State, has called for end to violence against women and girls. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Chibata, tells us the rest of the story.
Visit to the Managing Director of Anambra Broadcasting Service ABS, Sashido Obidiegu. The committee, led by Mrs. Eukaria Uyawune, emphasized the crucial role of the media in raising awareness towards tackling gender-based violence. Mrs. Uyawune, who highlighted the dire situations faced by victims, underscored the urgency of increasing advocacy to end the menace. According to her, the committee seeks collaboration with ABS to amplify their message and curb the disturbing trend of gender-based violence while recognizing the power of media in shaping public perception and promoting social change.
We cannot do anything without media. That is media that will help us to create enough awareness so that the masses will know exactly what we are saying and what this violence and girl-child abuse, what they...
Responding, Sashido acknowledged the global concern over heightened gender-based violence and pledged ABS commitment to the ongoing sensitization campaigns. While commended the committee's initiative as laudable, the ABS boss explained that gender-based violence also affects both men and boys and stressed the importance of addressing the root causes of the issue.
It makes it very, very important that, issues that pertain to women we must take very, very seriously, and anybody that goes violent against a woman should be punished. In fact, there should be capital punishment. There should be capital punishment for anybody who goes violent, towards a woman. And I make bold to say that. So whatever support you guys need from ABS, I can assure you we'll give you that. Whatever support.
In her remark, the Vice Chairman of the Congress, Comrade Esther Igwebwe, thanked ABS for their support and pledged continued partnership with the media.
We are thrilled by your reception, and we thank God for you. May God keep on blessing you, helping you in what you're doing, both your families and your office work. In Jesus' name.
The delegation included the chairperson of women journalists in Anambra State, Comrade Franklin Onyekachi, who called for a united front in the fight against gender-based violence. Emmanuel Shibata for ABS News.
Has ordained new priests, collected canons, and archdeacons with a charge on them to live up to the responsibility of shepherding God's flock. 2 ordinands were made deacons, 2 deacons made priests by the Bishop of the Diocese, Right Reverend Professor Israel Okoye. Our correspondent, Kenneth Kuchkwode, tells us more.
Elevated and collated 4 priests of the diocese as canons of the cathedral and 2 others as archdeacons. In his sermon, the guest preacher and the Anglican Bishop of Mbammili Diocese, Right Reverend Dr. Obiora Uzochukwu, laid emphasis on the fact that everyone is called to God's work at different levels and should not be left only for the ordained. Bishop Uzochukwu charged Christians to carry out God's ministry in any position or place they find themselves. He also harped on the need for Christians to have a personal encounter with Jesus Christ in order to serve God truly and to do his enormous work of evangelism, while charging the newly ordained and elevated priests to develop their capacity by engaging in constant prayers and work of faith.
God said he wants us to grow. He wants the church to grow. He wants us to grow. He wants everyone, all hands to be on deck, that we will come to the fullness of Christ. We will come to maturity.
Later in an interview, the host bishop, Professor Okoye, charged the newly ordained and elevated to be faithful to God, who would never fail them to bear fruits and grow in their ministries.
Serve God who called you to this ministry. Be faithful to him. This God is there for us. He has commissioned them today and he has empowered them today. He will not fail them.
Venerable David Okafor, who was collated as an archdeacon of the diocese, remarked that it is a humble privilege to be called to higher responsibility and prayed that the grace of God would help him to discharge his duties and win more souls for Christ.
He has to sit up to our responsibilities, and individually we have to do that collectively. I believe from the Bible the one easiest way to curb evil is by enthroning righteousness.
Others who were ordained or elevated, including Reverends Chinedu Maduabuchukwu and Anthony Izundu, expressed happiness for the responsibility of shepherding God's flock in the diocese and assured that they are equal to the task of living up to their responsibilities through the strength that Christ gives them. A guest, Mr. Uzewulu Mbemena, emphasized that he has no doubt in the capacity of the newly ordained in helping the ministry handed over to them to grow, while Mrs. Choma Okafor, a wife to one of the newly collated archdeacons, promised that she will help her husband in doing the work of Christ through the grace of God, not minding the challenges. The ordination service featured oath-taking and collation rites, hymn rendition, and thanksgiving by the newly ordained and elevated. From Ihiala, it's been Kenechukwu Chukwudi for ABS News.
Have been called upon to always avoid sensationalism, be fair and balanced in their daily reportage for the interest of the society. Correspondent Emmanuel Okonkwo reports that the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Awka Capital Territory Development Authority, Mr. O.C. Onuko, made the call during this month's Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ Anambra State Council's Congress held at NUJ Secretariat in Awka. Emma Okonkwo tells us more.
Represented by Mr. Ejiko Okoye, acknowledged the importance of journalists in national development, advocated real practice of freedom of the press in Nigeria, and emphasized the need for government officials and lawmakers to help in ensuring that the press access public information freely and easily for the good of the society. He called on journalists to always be professional in discharging their duties as information managers.
Journalists, on their part, should aim at fair, balanced information that is devoid of sensation.
In a speech, the state chairman of the NUJ, Dr. Emeka Odogu, commended the cooperation of the members for the progress of the union and called on them to put in more efforts in promoting the union, even as he encouraged them to up their games as the eyes and mouth of the society and never to compromise their responsibilities for anything. Regretted the recent demise of one of the members of the union, Comrade Nneka Anoliefo of the Anambra Broadcasting Service, Dr. Odogu said the deceased was committed and dedicated to the activities of the union till death, describing her death as a big loss to the union and prayed for eternal repose of her soul. He advised members of the NUJ to take their health seriously, seek advice, and share their challenges with people around them for timely assistance, stressing that problem shared is problem solved.
But as we reflect on activities of the year, I will urge them to rethink in areas they have not done well, to rethink in areas they think they need to sharpen for better access and better activities and better support for the state.
In a remark, the matriarch of the union, Professor Stella Okunna, rated journalists in Anambra high in the discharge of their duties and tasked them on continuous personal development and improvement in the journalism profession.
I'm happy about performance, yes. We're also doing well. But no amount of doing well will prevent us from also urging journalists to keep improving our performance.
During the Congress, members of the union were given opportunity to air their views on how best to move the union forward, and a minute silence was also observed in honor of the departed member, Comrade Anoliefo. In Oka, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
The Nigerian Army will be evaluating and comprehensively reviewing ongoing operational engagement in all the theaters of operations across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. This will enable the service to make decisions that will help in effectively tackling the security challenges bedeviling the country. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Nwachukwu Onyema, noted that the service will be embarking on the review, among others, at the Chief of Army Staff's conference later to hold in Maiduguri between December 10 and 16. Brigadier General Onyema said the week-long conference is an important annual event in the calendar of the Nigerian Army due to its significance to national security, peace, and stability. He added that the event will also allow the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Labaja, to have an interaction with the field commanders. Data shared with Euronews shows multiple European states have supplied key weapons and equipment likely used by Israel's army in its offensive. In a recent 4-page letter, former United Nations official Craig Mogbia criticized the international community for failing to stop a genocide unfolding before their eyes in Gaza. The U.S. human rights lawyer accused the U.S., UK, and much of Europe of being wholly complicit in the horrific assault on the Palestinian enclave by Israeli forces, which began on October 7 when Hamas killed more than 1,400 people in southern Israel. Israel has retaliated with unrelenting strikes on Gaza and poured in troops and tanks, killing more than 9,000 so far, say Palestinian authorities. New information shared with Euronews show European states are likely aiding and assisting Israel's offensive directly. The Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, provided data on arms sales from Europe to Israel between 2013 to 2022, showing Italy and Germany has supplied Israel military with crucial weapons and equipment it was now using on ground in Gaza. In sports, Super Eagles forward Victor Osimhen has made the final shortlist for the 2023 CAF African Men's Player of the Year award. The Confederation of African Football on its official X handle said they released the list of the 3 final nominees in different categories for the prestigious awards. Osimhen will be vying with Morocco's Paris Saint-Germain defender Achraf Hakimi and Egypt's Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah. The 24-year-old has been in fine form for Napoli in the past 12 months, guiding the Serie A club to their first league victory in 3 years and scoring a league-high 26 goals in 32 Serie A games last season and 31 goals across all competitions. For his impressive performance in Italy, the Nigerian won the Serie A Best Striker Paolo Rossi and the Italian Footballers Association's Player of the Year awards. He also received a nomination for the Ballon d'Or and is in the running for the Globe Soccer Award. For the national team, Osimhen helped Nigeria qualify for the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast and finished the qualification series as top scorer with 10 goals. And then, on the sad note there, the Bishop-elect of Tree of Life Gospel Ministry, Right Reverend Arinze Ochukwuka, has encouraged the children of late mother Selena Udalo in Iyoranam, Anambra West local government area, to maintain unity and uphold the legacies of their late mother. This plea was made during the funeral service of the deceased, who passed away at age of 64. Correspondent Emmanuel Chibata filed the report.
Titled The Sacredness of the Family, the bishop consoled the bereaved family and emphasized the significance of family as a covenant by blood. He expressed concern about society turning away from the sacredness and the union of family, attributing the decline in morals to this neglect. Highlighting the impact of wrong family dynamics on society, the bishop urged sympathizers to introspect and restore order within their own families.
People have turned their back on the sacredness of family. People have turned their back on that union of family. Foundation of everything. And family.
The children of the deceased, Messrs. Okuchukwu and Jacob Udalo, along with her daughter, Mrs. Hannah Nweke, remembered their mother as a peaceful, loving, and caring individual, expressing their deep sense of loss.
My mom, is a very nice woman. She was a very nice woman when she was alive. And I felt bad, for losing her at this very age.
Mom was a peace-loving woman. She loves peace, and she always advised us.
Condolences and dance by the deceased children capped the event, while the deceased is survived by 6 children.
This morning, thanks for joining us. Remember that you can follow news and programs from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS Radio Television. Subscribe to our YouTube at ABS Television, Oka. Or follow us on X, that is Twitter, at ABS Radio TV. You can also follow us on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. Before we go, here are the main points. Again, we told you that the Anambra State government has sent warnings to all criminals and miscreants in the state. As NLC Women Committee visits ABSMD seeks end to gender-based violence. We also told you that the Nigerian Army is to review operational engagement in all theater of war across the country, as US, UK, others have been accused of aiding Israel's war on Gaza. To end the news, remember that Governor Chukwu Masoludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's continue to give him maximum support for the tasks ahead. I am David Okwasi. Thank you for joining us this morning. The weekend show continues right after now. Stay with us.